Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to see so much energy. I want to thank Ralph Reed for all he's done. I want to thank each of you for being here. I want to thank Lindsey Graham for his hard work. Great nations don't automatically last forever. Writing about Rome, historian Will Durant said, "A great civilization is not conquered from without until it has first destroyed itself from within." Great civilizations that have collapsed or been conquered by a foreign adversary were first hollowed out from the inside. We Americans are the most spoiled people on earth. We've been given such a great heritage, and we're taking it for granted. The founding fathers of our country, men like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, men who are now considered to be evil racist, according to the top scholars in America's elite universities. These men set us on a course for success the world has never before seen. We survived the War of 1812, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, the Cold War. But now today, we face the greatest danger we have ever faced. The militant left wing in our country has become the enemy within. You may think that's pretty dramatic, right? Calling them the enemy within. Yes, I am, and here's why. Let's do a quick situation report. The militant left now has seized control of our economy, our culture, and our country. When you turn on the news at night, do you even recognize this country? Are you worried for your family, and are you worried for your freedoms? The woke left now controls the Democrat Party, the entire federal government, the news media, academia, big tech, Hollywood, corporate boardrooms, and now even some of our top military leaders. They are working hard to redefine America, silence their opponent, and that means each of you. They're destroying just about everything they touch, and they've got their hands on everything. So just think about what they're trying to destroy. It's a long list. American history, patriotism, border security, gender, traditional morality, capitalism, fiscal responsibility, opportunity, rugged individualism, Judeo-Christian values, free speech, law enforcement, religious liberty, parental involvement in schools, and private ownership of firearms. The woke left wants all of that gone. They have a goal of ending the American experiment. They want to replace freedom with control. The elites of the government are telling us what we can and cannot think, what we can believe, and what we can do. They want complete control of our lives. Woke government runs schools. Woke government run healthcare. Woke government run media. Woke government run everything. In their new socialist America, everyone's going to obey, and none of you will be allowed to complain. If you do speak up, boom, you're going to be canceled. Your views, if you don't conform with big tech or Fauci or Neil Young, you're going to be taken off of Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. They're the modern-day version of book burners, canceling, silencing, and banning the internet from the internet. They're book burners. These are the most narrow-minded, intolerant people our country has ever seen before. They're ignorant of both world history and American history. Socialism leads to two things: poverty and oppression. You know, socialism is not a new idea. It's one of the oldest, dumbest, most discredited ideas of the 20th century, and it resulted in 100 million deaths. Yet these Democrats have no idea how the real world works, and they're acting like they invented socialism. They've never read George Orwell. They don't know that they're making his predictions come true. So what they're proposing is not just wrong, it's evil, and the results are evil. Now, the Biden presidency He's brought us one new thing. They have figured out how to merge radical left-wing policies with absolute gross incompetence. It's hurting families. We've got, rip-roaring inflation, empty shelves. In America, we have babies without formula. We got dangerous invasion of the border, drugs and criminals marching in every day. We got escalating spending and debt. You saw the inept withdrawal from Afghanistan. They're trying to indoctrinate all of our kids. And we've got murders all across this country. Look around the country. Criminals are not being prosecuted, but police are being executed. So all this makes you think, is this the beginning of the end of America? It could be, but it's only if we allow it. Now here's the good news. The backlash is coming. The opposition is building. Americans in flyover country have had enough of this woke, elitist nonsense. We want our freedom back. It is time to rescue America. As the old saying goes, don't wait for instructions from headquarters, just mount up and ride to the sounds of the guns, and they're all over this country. It's time to take this country back. Now, I'm here to tell you, the American people are going to give a complete butt-kicking to the Democrats this November. But after we win, then what? So that's what I came to talk to you about. If the Republicans return to Washington, business as usual, if we have no bigger plan to be a speed bump than to be a speed bump on the road to America's collapse, we don't deserve to govern. In Washington, we've got to have new majorities in both the House and the Senate, and we have to have a new plan. In February, I released an 11-point plan to rescue this country. It's got 128 specific policy ideas. I'm a business guy. I built businesses all my life. I believe the hour is late for this country, and we have to have a plan to rescue this country. We can't just say, oh gosh, we're going to go up there, we're going to do our best and hope it all works out. To actually turn something around, you make a plan, you make big changes, and you do it today. So go to rescueamerica.com and you can read the entire plan, but let me just give you a couple points. The plan calls for every child in every school to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand for the national anthem and learn that this is the greatest country in the history of the world. The plan calls for a complete end to racial politics. We're going to stop the government from asking anybody their race or skin color on any government forum. Each of us is made in the image of God, and we should judge a person not on the color of their skin, but on their character. We're going to treat socialism as an adversary, and we're going to use all force to stop it from destroying this great country. We're going to stop our economic relationship with communist China. We're going to extract ourselves from dependent on communist China and stop buying their products. They want to destroy us. We cannot rely on them for anything. Not pharmaceuticals, computer chips, TV, clothing, cheap toys, any of their crap. Now, the next one's going to make me a little less popular in Washington. I think we ought to have term limits. But not just for the politicians, for the government bureaucrats. We got to stop this. We got to stop this elitist ruling class, this permanent ruling class in Washington that thinks that our government belongs to them. Now, the next one's really controversial. Men are men, women are women, there's two genders. Science confirms that unborn babies are human beings. The plan calls for a complete end to voter fraud and protecting the integrity of our elections. Look, the Democrats know they can't win with their crazy woke ideas, so they want to rig elections and institutionalize voter fraud, and we're not going to allow it. We're going to stop all this soft-on-crime, stupid ideas that are destroying our cities and killing innocent Americans. And we're going to get rid of these prosecutors that don't want to prosecute. They will be fired. We're going to teach our kids to respect the police because they're the good guys. The criminals are the bad guys. Finally, nations have borders. We're going to secure a border, build the damn wall, and when we do, we're going to name it after President Donald J. Trump. The plan's got some other ideas as well. You know what the critics in Washington say about this plan to rescue our country? The Democrats say I'm not woke and I'm not serious. They say I'm racist in some way or the other because that's what they say about anything they disagree with. The Washington insiders, the woke media, the socialist squad roll their eyes when anytime anybody reminds them that America is a great country full of great people and we will not be stopped. You know, in D.C. they tell us how our stuff won't work. You know, Washington's full of do-nothing people who believe that no conservative change can ever happen. Nothing will change as long as they're in charge, and that's why we're going to get rid of them. Now, some Republicans also complain about our plan. They mostly do it with anonymous quotes, mostly. But the most fun part of this plan is it is driving Joe Biden nuts. He keeps lashing out at me almost every day for having the nerve to write a plan and call him out for what he is. I think it's a badge of honor. You know, people in Washington, they tiptoe around the truth. Joe Biden is incapacitated, incompetent, and leading us into a recession. If he cared about this country, he ought to resign. Now, I'm not going to be intimidated by Biden, establishment Republicans, anybody that doesn't believe we ought to have a plan. We have no fear for standing what we believe in, what is right to rescue this country. That's the kind of old thinking that got us where we are today, where we don't control anything, the House, the White House, and the Senate. We've got to get serious. It's time to have a plan. It's time to rescue the plan. We're going to win this fight. Freedom is worth fighting for. You're worth fighting for. Our families are worth fighting for. America is worth fighting for. Download and read the plan. There's going to be things you might not agree with. That's okay. There's going to be things we add. We just added some stuff about taxation. More than 250,000 people have read this plan and given me thousands of ideas. I'm going to keep making it better, but we need to fight. This is not the time to be timid. This is the time to be bold. God favors those that are bold. Our nation's future can be bright, but we've got to have a plan to take this country back. Before you read it, it's not for the faint of heart. It's going to trigger people like Joe Biden. It's going to strike fear in the heart of some Republicans. If we don't scare people, we're not fighting hard enough. The fight to rescue America is the fight of our century. Socialism is our fight. Freedom is our fight. Our families, our future, that's what we've got to fight for. We are not going to be controlled by the Democrats, by government, by the elites, by anybody. We will prevail. Thank you, and God bless this great country.